Great, we're live.
Okay, awesome.
Excellent.
All right.
Good morning.
My name is Mrs. Kern. I am the instructional technologist. I'm one of the instructional technologists for our district. I work at 4 different elementaries, and this is one of mine. This is Longbranch. Where'd y'all go? This is Miss Money. She is our librarian. She's given us the library for the morning.
Good morning.
Awesome. I need my science teachers. Jeannie's there's 3 of them, and Jeannie's not here. Okay.
Hi, I'm Miss Baruman.
Baruman. Okay. Good
Yes.
morning.
Science.
And I'm Miss King. I'm the one that's been doing a lot of chatting with you on
Great.
email.
Thanks for the emails.
Oh, sure.
Hi, Mrs. Harrod.
Miss Harrod.
I'm Mrs. Prindle.
Miss Brendel. Good morning.
You gonna remember all our names?
I'm writing them down.
Quiz in a minute here. I'm Miss Dawson.
Hey, Miss Dawson.
Hello, I'm Miss Walling.
Miss Walling. Hey.
And then we have one teacher absent today, and her name was Miss Maxwell.
Great.
So, all righty.
So are these all the 4th graders at Longbranch?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
So
Hey,
I will,
Brenda.
if you hang on a second, I will kind of make you sick a little, but
Oh, fine. I'd like to see.
Wait.
Hey, y'all.
there we go.
Super.
All right.
Thank you. Always nice to see what it looks like on your end.
Back real fast.
Voices off. Voices off.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, all right. So I thought maybe first we would talk about the Earth and how that works, and what it's like to see the Earth as a planet. Does that sound like a good thing? Okay. So I'm going to use Google Earth to help show you what our planet Earth looks like if you go out into space. Okay. So here's our Earth. Google Earth, the software, will show you if you're out in space what the Earth looks like. And what's cool about it is that you can turn it around and spin it. Is that coming through okay? The video?
Yes, that looks
Great.
good.
So one thing you can do in Google Earth is visit different places. So if we want, we could zoom in to your school. So what's strange about the Earth is that, oops, it's not over here. It doesn't look, when you look at it from the ground, it's very different from what it looks like if you go up into outer space. So let's see if I have the right address. Oh, I think I did. Maybe not. So, I had a different address. Let's see. So you guys are in here. I thought I had it. Sorry. So if we're looking down on Midlothian, maybe you can see some things you recognize. But with Google Earth, you can also look and see, what it looks like if you're up, say, in a plane. If you were in a plane flying over your town, it would look something like this. So to go into, if you're going higher, like I say, if you're in a commercial jet, like you go to the airport and you get on an airplane, and you look down, the area there might look something like this. And you can see all the highways that are close to your town. And let's see, if we spin around a little bit and look over there, Dallas is going to be up there somewhere. And we could get higher above the planet, and we look down and we get an idea that it's very different from what it looks like if you're down on the ground. If we go even higher and farther away, Dallas comes into view, and Fort Worth, Arlington. You can see all the highways that you've driven on. And if you go way high, you could see all of Texas. And then if you look up, stars get to be in the sky. So what's important to know about Earth is that when you're on the ground, you get a very different feeling for what it looks like compared to when you're in space. It'd be almost like, it would be almost like growing up in a house where all the windows are covered. Now, say if you lived all your life, you grew up and you never left the house and the windows were covered and you never knew it was outside. You'd be kind of curious about what was going on out there. And say when you got to be 8 or 10 years old and then you went outside and say, oh, I see what the house looks like. It's got a roof and this is what the outside looks like. Well, going up from the ground of Earth into space is kind of like that. You've lived all your life on the ground and couldn't really see the planet above you. And it looks like dislocated. It kind of looks like it's kind of flat. But when you go up into space, it looks like you see that, yeah, the Earth is really a planet up in space, and it's a round ball or like a sphere. So does anybody have any questions about that? How's that for an explanation of what the Earth looks like as a planet?
Do you have any?
Yeah, so let's take a minute and let you guys think about that for a bit. And did that make?
We have a question coming up.
Great.
You're going to scoot forward.
Good morning.
Just look right here at that green dot and tell them good morning and ask your question.
Good
Morning,
morning. I'm Ava. My question is, why is the Earth tilted on its axis? What would the weather and seasons be like if it didn't tilt?
Did you hear her? Did that come through? Oh, there you are. Sorry. We had a little delay there. Sorry about that.
So I brought a globe, and the globe, a lot of times when you look at the globe, it shows you that, it shows the Earth kind of tilted, not like this, but like this. So the Earth is tilted on its axis because that happened in the early formation of the planets. So instead of coming out with the Earth spinning and the axis pointing straight up to the north, the axis is pointed a little bit off to the side. Okay, so that came about from when the planets were first formed, and when the solar system and all the other planets that go around the sun first formed. Okay. Do I have another question, or should we? I have some other demos to talk about more what the Earth looks like from space.
Say good morning. My name is, and ask me a question.
Good morning. My name is Camden. And why are the seasons different in different parts of the world? For example, Christmas is in summer in Australia.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the seasons a little bit. Because the Earth's tilted, the different parts of the Earth get different amounts of sun's energy and different amounts of sunlight during the course of the year. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So I'm going to use another software program. This is called Starry Night, and I'm going to screen share that. And let's have a look at the Earth spinning in space. So let's go farther away from Earth, and see how this is. So this is what the Earth looks like if you're far away from space. Now all the clouds are removed, and you can see how the sunlight is falling on different parts of the Earth. So this is actually much faster than the Earth spins. So as the Earth is spinning, different parts of the Earth are getting different amounts of sunlight. Okay, these parts over on the right are facing the sun, and the parts over on the left side are in the darkness. Is that playing back okay? Great. And then you might also notice that the moon is moving behind the sun too. So while the Earth's spinning around, the Earth's moving in orbit around the Earth. Okay. So Earth's going around like this, it's spinning, and the moon at the same time is going around the Earth. And the Earth in one day makes one spin, and the moon in 1 month, or kind of a month, makes one orbit all the way around the Earth. Okay? So because the Earth has a tilt on it, the sun comes in from this direction. So if you're on the northern part of the hemisphere, up here, you get more sunlight during the day. Actually, it would be this way, if it tilted this way. If the sun's coming in from this direction and the axis is pointing that way, you get the sun's more directly overhead. It's not down low in the sky, but it's high in the sky. So the sun's hotter when it's right on you. And the sun's in the sky for more hours during the day. So just like when you go outside on a warm sunny day, if you're outside at noon and the sun's right overhead, it feels hot. But if you go outside at sunset, right, like an hour before the sun goes down below the horizon, the sun's not as hot as it is during the day. So that's what happened. As the Earth goes in different parts of its orbit, sometimes it's on this side of sometimes the Earth's on this side of the sun, the light's coming in this way, and you get a lot of light on the southern hemisphere. And that's when they have summer in Australia and places below the equator. And then in the other part of the year, the sun's on this side, and you get a lot of sun on the northern hemisphere and above the equator. So how's that for an answer? Did that make sense to everybody? Cool. And do you want us to have some follow-up questions on that?
The question about the weather too. Okay. That's kind of funny.
Hi, my name is Jordan. How does the angles of the sun's light cause changes in the seasons?
How does the angle of the sun cause changes in the seasons? So it's really the tilt of the axis of the Earth that causes different parts of the Earth to get different amounts of sunlight at different times of year. So you probably notice, or if you probably notice that, during the summer when school's out, the sun comes up earlier in the morning and sets later at night. But in January and winter, the sun comes up later and goes and sets earlier. So it's all related to the amount of sunlight that we get. And we get different amounts of sunlight because of the tilt of the Earth. Okay. Do we have some more questions? Good.
Well, our questions are kind of changing to the moon.
Okay.
The moon going around also, or orbiting. So can we switch over to some moon questions?
Yeah, for sure. Please.
So I have to look right here and tell me, good morning, my name is.
Good morning, my name is Maddie, and
Natalie.
what causes tides to go in and out?
So everything in space has gravity. Earth's gravity is holding you down on the Earth, and it's a big planet, really big, probably bigger than you ever thought about. And it's so big that it has strong enough gravity that's holding everything down. If you go on a smaller planet, smaller planets have less gravity, and they don't hold you down as much. So the moon, even though it's smaller than the Earth, it still has gravity. It still has a little tug on the Earth. So as the moon goes around the Earth, it's putting a little bit of a tug on the Earth, and it's really Earth's gravity that keeps the moon in orbit around the Earth. So as the moon goes around, we feel a little bit of Earth's gravity. It's because our oceans aren't hard and fixed. The water in the ocean sometimes gets pulled by the moon, and sometimes it goes out towards the moon a little bit, and sometimes it comes back in if the moon's on the other side of the Earth. So it's really the moon's gravity, just like the Earth's gravity holds you down. It's the moon's gravity that's kind of pulling on the Earth a little bit as it goes around. you have another moon question? Okay.
Hey, good morning. My name is. I talk real loud for you.
Hi, good morning. My name is JC, and why does the moon glow?
Why does the moon glow? Let's see. Let's think about that a little bit. So when the sun's down for us, so let's say we're here on the earth and the sun's over here on this side. Sunlight's going to hit this part of the earth and it's dark and it's nighttime for us over here. We can't see the sun until the earth spins around and it comes up in our sky again. So when there's no sunlight falling on the earth, and say if you go in your backyard at night and there's no lights, so you have a big tree in your backyard, but there's no lights, there's no street lights, there's no house lights. You have a flashlight, but your flashlight's turned off. So if you go outside at night and the sun's not in the sky, you can't really see that tree because there's no light shining on it. But if you turn on your flashlight, the light from the flashlight goes out of the flashlight, hits the tree, and you can see the tree, right? Same thing happens with the moon in the sky. The moon in the sky is far away, and when it's in the part of our sky that we could see, and the sunlight's hitting the moon, the sunlight hits the moon, and the light from the sun comes out of the sun, hits the moon, and bounces right back into your eye, and you can see the moon. But if the moon's over here behind you, the sun's not going to be in your sky. So the moon gets its glow the same way we see everything on Earth during the day, from the light of the sun. How's that? Does that sound good? Make sense for you? Cool.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Conrad. Why does the moon look different shapes in the sky?
Why does the moon look different shapes in the sky? This is a good question. It's hard to think. So, like we were looking at it's because you have to think about it as three different things, three different balls or spheres in space. So the sun is one sphere that's making light way off in a different side, way off in one direction. And then the moon and the earth are over here, and the earth's going around, and the moon's going around the earth. So it depends on where the moon's light is. I have an idea. Let's see if I could try this. I'm going to try and switch to my phone. Oh, that's a different call. Let's see if I could do this. No. Oh, that was the first call. No? Okay, well, that's not going to work for me. So I'm going to do something different. So if we're going to look at the moon, like let's say this is our moon, okay? And let's say our head is the earth, okay? I can't really make my head spin like the earth does during the day, but let's say that I'm on the earth and I'm on my nose. My head is the earth and I'm a little person on my nose. So if the moon's out in front of me like this, I could see the moon. The moon's over here. I can see the moon if I look, if the earth is pointing this direction, but over here it's in this part of the sky. If the moon's back here behind me and I'm on the earth and my earth is here, I can't see the moon. So if the sun is a really bright light, let's see if we could do this. The sun's light comes in and hits the moon. And sometimes the moon's lit up really brightly from this side. And the moon looks full in our sky. So if the sun is, let's say the sun's behind me and the sun's shining on the moon, the light comes past the earth and the sunlight is fully lit on the moon. It's hitting the whole moon by itself. So the moon in your sky would look like a full moon. If the sun's light, instead of coming from behind me, comes from the side, the moon looks half lit. And you see light on one side and light on the other. So let's think of it a different way. So let's say the sun's like out in front of me. If the sun's out in your direction and light from the sun's coming this way, and the moon's over here, the sunlight's going to hit this part of the moon, but this part of the moon is going to be dark. So it'll look like, for me on Earth, it'll be half lit. And if the sun's on this side and the moon and the light's coming this way, and no light is hitting the side of the moon that I can see, it's going to be all dark. If the moon's over here, the sunlight's coming from this direction, this side will be lit and this side will be dark. So you have to think of it as 3 different spheres in space. And that's hard to imagine. But maybe if you try a really bright light in the room and imagine that the light is the sun, and then make believe that the Earth is your head, and you use a ball on a pencil like this, you can see the phases. They're called the phases of the moon, or what the moon looks like when it has light coming on it from different directions. So did that help?
Yeah, I like my head is the earth and I'm the nose. I like that part.
Yeah, it's a great way to think about it. Okay.
Real loud. Good morning, Naya.
Good morning. I'm Anna, and my question is, why are we sometimes able to see the moon in the sky during the daytime?
Why can we see the moon in the sky during the daytime? So you have to kind of understand a little bit about how our sky works. So the sky, what we see, the Earth is a really big planet, and the air on the planet is really close to the surface. There's just a little layer of air that surrounds the planet, and everything, and that air supports everything that's living on Earth. So when the sun's shining on the Earth, it's lighting up all that air and making it bright, and you can't see the stars. But the sun's really bright. So sometimes when the moon's in your sky, you'll see the moon during the day because the sunlight's bright and hitting it. And sometimes, you won't see the moon because you're on one side and the moon's you're on one side of the Earth and the moon's on the other side of the Earth. So another way to think about it, say the Earth, let's say the moon is here by my finger, and we're riding on the Earth. If we're on the Earth over here and the moon's in front of us, we'll be able to see it. If we're over here on the Earth and the moon's over here, you kind of see it in the low part of the sky. And then like 12 hours later at nighttime, maybe, or it could be nighttime or daytime, if the moon's over here and we're on this side of the Earth, can we see it? No, because the Earth's in the way. So it's because the Earth's spinning around and the moon's moving slowly around. Sometimes so in 1 week, the moon will be on this side, and then a week later, the moon will be on this side, and then a week later, it'll be behind it, and another week later, it'll be on this side. So it takes 1 whole month to go all the way around the Earth. So it depends on where the moon is in its orbit and where the Earth is as it spins around. Okay.
Hi, my name is Isabel, and why does the moon sometimes seem very large in the sky, but other times it is very small?
So large in the sky and small, that depends on whether there's something next to it. So if you're out at night and it's around the time of full moon, the moon's going to be really high in the sky and there's nothing next to it in your way. If you're in an open sky, like out away from under the trees. When the moon is rising, say at full moon, like right when it comes up and it's close to, and it's like coming over the edge of the horizon, like say it's coming up just from when you couldn't see it, and there's some houses close to it. You'll have a house or a tree or a mountain that's next to the moon, so it makes it look big. So it's just a way. It depends on whether there's something kind of in the view of the moon along and close to it. So it's really not any bigger. It just looks kind of bigger because it's close to things that are down around the horizon.
So it's kind of like in art class when Ms. Robertson talks about perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
3D drawing.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Colby, and what is a harvest moon or a blue moon?
A harvest moon or blue moon. So the different names for those moons, I think there's a whole bunch of other ones too. I think they came about when, depending on the time of the year. So since the moon takes 1 month to go in its orbit around the Earth, and we have 12 months in a year, that means we have 12 full moons in a year. So as when we have the full moon that's in October, which is usually the time that farmers are harvesting their crops, they called that moon the harvest moon because it was a full moon that happened to be around the time that they were harvesting their crops. A blue moon is a different kind of nickname. It happens so the moon takes 30 days to go around the sun, like 29.5 days to go around the Earth, sorry. So the moon takes just a little bit less. So if we have then a full month, especially a longer month. So if we're, say, in May and there's 31 days in May, there's a chance to have a full moon on May 1st and another full moon on May 31st. So even though the moon's not changing, because some months are a little bit longer than others, we could have 2 full moons in the same month, and they call that a blue moon. And that's where you hear some people say, oh, it's once in a blue moon, because it just doesn't happen that often. And it will never happen in February.
Hi, my name is Grace. I was wondering if you could demonstrate the difference between revolution and
revolution and rotation. So a revolution is a way to explain how long an orbit is. So one revolution of the Earth is one trip around the sun 1 year. Okay, so the Earth makes one revolution around the sun in 1 year. Okay, the moon makes one revolution around the Earth in 1 month. That's how we get all our divisions of the days and the months and the years. It's all dependent. It all comes from how things move in the sky and how the Earth moves. So a rotation is, instead of talking about the orbit of something, it's about the spin of something. So one rotation of the Earth is really one full spin. So that's 1 day. So the Earth rotates once a day. So here's 1 day and 1 rotation. Here's another day and another rotation. So Earth makes 1 rotation every day, but it makes 1 revolution every year. Okay, great.
Okay, this is our last question about planets, and then we've got about 5 questions about Virgin Galactic. Does that sound
Great.
okay?
Yeah, super.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and what is an eclipse and what causes them?
An eclipse. So let's think. So an eclipse is something being in somebody else's shadow. So if you're out on the playground and I'm out and I'm there with you and the sun's really bright and I walk around and you're standing in the sunlight and I walk around and I stand between you and the sun so that you're in my shadow, that means I would be eclipsing you. I've caused an eclipse on you because I blocked the sun from you. Okay, so what happens in the sky is that, let's say the sunlight's out in front of me and it's coming right at me this way. And let's say my head is the Earth. Okay, if the moon goes around, sometimes the moon's a little above the Earth, sometimes it's below the Earth. But if the moon comes around and the light's coming right at me, and the moon goes like this, and it goes inside the shadow of my head, inside the shadow of the Earth, that means the Earth is causing an eclipse on the moon. Okay? If the moon comes around this way, and sometimes it's a little high, sometimes it's a low, but sometimes it hits it exactly. If the moon comes in and then blocks the sun from my head, and my nose can't see the sun, then the moon has eclipsed the Earth. So that means the Earth is just in the moon's shadow. And there's going to be a big eclipse in 2017. It's going to be a solar eclipse, so the moon's shadow is going to pass right down the middle of the United States. Probably not too far from you guys in Texas. I know it's coming over parts of Oregon. So you guys need to hope for sunny weather and clear skies. I think it's August 2017, because you'll be able to see an eclipse live from the United States. I went and saw one once in Hawaii, and it was spectacular, because all of a sudden we just got in the shadow of the moon and it got really dark for about 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Could you give us just a quick little overview of what Virgin Galactic is? And
Yeah.
then we've got a couple questions, and then they have to move on. So,
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
So what Virgin Galactic is doing, there's a new thing happening. So for the first time now, let's see, the only way to get to space. So when I was 1 year old, and I'm 55 now, when I was 1 year old in 1961, the first person went to space. And since then, there's been about 550 people that have gone to space. And it's really expensive to get to space. It's expensive to make the rocket. It's hard to make the rocket. And the only way to do that was from governments that had enough money to actually build a rocket and design the rocket and actually fly it. So up until now, the only way to get to space was to work with a program that was run by the government. And you had to be a career astronaut. You had to be an astronaut for your job. So you'd be a pilot, you'd be in the military, you'd work for a long time, you might be a scientist or a chemist, and you'd be selected for an astronaut. It's very hard to do. So now we've made enough progress with technology and everything that there's three companies. There's Virgin Galactic, there's X-Core, and there's Blue Origins. And all three of those companies are designing ways to take people into space as tourists, where you can buy a ticket. You wouldn't have to be a career astronaut. And we can go up into space and look back on the Earth. So that's what Virgin Galactic is doing. And about 5 years ago, I bought a ticket with them. And what's going to happen is they built a special plane and a special spaceship. There's two parts. So the spaceship gets connected to the plane, and the plane carries the spaceship up to a regular, up high in the sky, and then the spaceship drops off, and the spaceship has a rocket on it. And they fire the rocket, and the rocket goes up into space for about 5 minutes. It doesn't go into orbit, but it gets high enough above all the sky that we'll be able to look back on the Earth. And then after we go up, gravity is going to kind of have its effect on us, and then it'll bring us back down, and we're going to land right back on the runway. So there's about 700 people that have signed up to fly into space, and I've met a lot of them. It's a really fun group. And there's going to be a big event a week from tomorrow, because Virgin Galactic is building a spaceship, and they're going to take it out of the hangar in California and show everybody what it looks like and tell everybody what its name is. So I have a few pictures of that if you'd like to see. Or do you want to ask a question?
Oh, that's cool. Are you going to be at the unveiling of the rocket ship?
Yes, I am actually. The unveiling is only going to be for what they call the founder astronauts, the first 100. But because I'm doing a lot of work with them, I got an invitation. So I'm going to be down there. I'm going to see the new spaceship, and I'm going to probably talk to some of the pilots and some of the other people that work for Virgin Galactic.
That's awesome. Wonderful.
Very exciting. Yeah, I'm going to Los Angeles a week from today.
Hi, my name's Andreas. How are people chosen to be a part of the Virgin Galactic program?
Well, one thing that's cool about Galactic is that you could buy a ticket. So you don't really have to wait for someone to pick you. Kind of like being in the airline. Galactic is a space line, so anybody that can buy a ticket can go into space. So that's going to be the big change that you guys will see, as you get older in the next 10 or 20 years. We're hoping that people will be able to go to space, and Galactic is hoping, in the same way that you buy a ticket to go on an airplane today. So very exciting for you guys. You'll see some cool things, and you'll have the chance to do it yourself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Peyton. Do people have to pass tests to be able to go on board?
Yes, there is some medical tests. It's really designed for anybody to be able to do it. So as long as you're in reasonably good health, and you'll be fine. I heard that they've checked the first 100 people that are going to fly, and they had to tell 2 people that no, you're not healthy enough. Your body, you have some kind of problem that would prevent you from flying. But they have somebody that's, let's see, he's 90 years old, and he's signed up, and I talked to the doctor for Galactic, and he said this person's ready to fly. So I'm signed up to be I'm about 360th on the list. So probably won't fly till the 60th flight, and that'll be maybe in 2 or 3 years. So I'm still a ways away from me.
Well, they were all amazed, because I'm just muting you to kind of keep our background noise down. But they were all amazed when you said he was 90. They're all like, ah.
Yeah. I just saw a picture of him last week. So.
Hello, my name is Roberto. And how much does it cost to send a group of people to space?
How much does it cost? Well, a lot, especially if you're going to go into orbit. You used to be able to, well, you still could. There are about 7 people that flew into space in orbit, on a Russian spacecraft, and you could buy a ticket for that. One person could pay, $40 or $50 million to go visit the space station. Yes, these people had a lot of extra money. So there have been people that paid about $50 million to go to the space station.
There was a collective when you had said that. So yes, a lot. So the Virgin Galactic tickets are also a lot, but they're a lot less. The Virgin Galactic tickets now are $250,000, which is still a lot of money. So I'm not sure how much each flight will cost, but Virgin Galactic is a business, and I don't work for them. I'm just a customer of theirs. But so they take 6 passengers on each flight. So would any of you like to do the math? If there's 6 passengers at $250,000 each, it's going to cost they're going to get about $1.5 million for every flight. So each flight will cost less than that. So maybe each flight might be around $1 million. This is a kind of a guess. Well, we've decided teachers won't be able to go.
All right. Well, yes, we'll see sometime. Maybe not right now, but it's important for these people to be starting this because it'll be easier to do later, we all hope.
Hi, my name is Carmen, and how far in space will the Virgin Galactic ships travel, and how long will a trip last?
Great question. So the Virgin Galactic trips, one thing you don't realize so much is that the atmosphere, the sky around Earth really looks, it looks big when you look at it from the ground, but it's really not so big when you look at it from Earth. Let me do a quick screen share. Well, the bottom line answer is 60 miles, but to really understand how 60 miles is, let me show you a picture. So here's a picture of the Earth taken from the space station. This is Italy, and you can see some of the mountains in Italy. You can see snow on the Alps, parts of Switzerland. But if you look right at the edge, there's a little blue band where it fades, where the edge of the Earth fades to black. So that's our atmosphere. And everything inside that atmosphere, that little thin layer of air around the Earth, keeps everything alive inside it. So where galactic's going, if you measure it, let's see. If you look at it compared to a globe like this, the thickness of the atmosphere around the Earth is the thickness of a paperclip. So our atmosphere is about this thick on the Earth. Might not be able to see the paperclip. So on our Virgin Galactic flight, we're going to go off the Earth, kind of to the edge of the paperclip, and then back down again. And we'll be in space for 5 minutes. The space station is a little bit higher. It's about 2 paperclip widths. It's about 250 miles. Actually, more like 3 or 4. So the space station is maybe a little bit higher, like this, maybe about this far above the Earth. That's a really big planet, and you really don't get an idea of what it looks like from the ground. It's a hard thing to think about because it looks flat and it doesn't look like a ball at all or like a sphere at all when you're sitting on the ground. So you guys really have to stretch your imaginations to think about what it looks like. But there's a lot of great things. There's a lot of great pictures you can look at that'll show you, help that make sense.
Can I ask a clarifying question just real quick?
Sure, please. Yeah.
Was the example of a paperclip, was that to scale, or
Yep.
is our atmosphere only really that thin?
That's to scale.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is that thin.
It is that thin. That
Yeah.
wasn't scale to the globe.
Well, no, let's scale to the globe. Yeah. So if
Okay, I got you now.
Okay. So it's really the Earth is 8,000 miles across in diameter, and the atmosphere is about 50 miles thick. So 8,000 compared to 50.
All right, awesome. I'm kind of
Amazing.
stunned. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You really wouldn't think of it, but that's how it works.
Hi, I'm Isabella Alcala, and I was wondering how many years will it be for an average citizen who can travel in space as a vacation?
We could travel in space pretty soon, maybe a year or two, when the Virgin Galactic first takes the first people, or maybe Blue Origins might take the first people. Not quite as long as a vacation, but only for 5 minutes. So to be on like a longer time in space and vacation, you have to go into orbit. And there's nobody that's doing that for regular people now. But maybe 10 years, 20 years, that's something you guys could do, actually. All of us people that have bought tickets on Galactic, there's 700 in space for 5 minutes. But probably like you, we would love to go have a vacation in space, but we need somebody like you to build us a space hotel. So maybe you guys, one of the things that we need is people to work on science and engineering and be curious about things and learn how to do things, be inspired. These are all things that you guys could be involved in as you get older. I'm really excited for you because there'll be a lot of cool things happening in space.
You gave them an awesome challenge.
Great. I would love to see it.
Hi, my name is Rocco. Do you have to wear a special helmet or spacesuit on the flight?
On the flight, it's going to be pressurized cabin, like an airplane. So we'll be in. They'll have a special flight suit for us, and I'm not sure about a helmet. But we'll get to unclick from our seats and float around weightless for about 5 minutes. Be fun.
Again, we had a collective awe.
You can leave your mic unmuted, I think, if you want. Either way.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions? Or are we good? Did you have anything else you wanted to share with us?
Well, I could show you. If you'd like to see some pictures from Galactic, I could show you a few. Okay.
Yes, please. And then
All right.
after that, we'll kind of wrap up. Awesome.
Sure.
Thank you.
And you want to finish at 11:35, 11:45, like 10 minutes?
Yeah, about 10 minutes. That would be perfect. Thank you.
Super. So let's see what I could pull up here. I'm going to go over to my collection of galactic pictures. And let's see what comes up. So here's a picture of the carrier spacecraft. This looks like a triple airplane, but it's not. It's really one plane with two bodies and the spaceship in the middle. Okay. Spaceship looks like this. And here it is beneath the wing of the carrier plane. So this is the first spaceship. This one actually had a terrible accident and crashed in 2014. So the one we're going to see next Friday is their second spaceship, spaceship number 2. One of the things we do for practice is, we check out what it's like to be weightless. So I went and I did some practice weightless training on an airplane. Whoops. So we got to float around weightless for about 30 seconds at a time, which was really super cool. And it was a really different and wonderful feeling. What else could I show you about Galactic? Here's a picture of the spaceship when it was being built. The rocket takes two kinds of fuel. There's a gas that's in a tank. That's this big black thing here, and it fits in a slot in the spaceship here. And the gas from the tank comes out a rocket in the back. So there are a number of people that are rocket engineers that are designing the rocket and building the rocket. And last October, I had a visit to the factory where they're building the spaceship. What else can I show you here? One thing that's good to think about, one thought I'd like you guys to keep in mind is that here's a picture of Earth from space. It was taken by the Apollo astronauts when they went to the moon. There's 12 people that walked on the moon. 24 people went to visit the moon. So in a way, Earth is a spaceship. It's a little different that all the passengers are on the outside of the spaceship, but we're all together on the Earth, and Earth is spinning and floating and traveling through space. So it's really important for us to take care of the Earth and do everything we can to make sure it's in good shape. Here's a picture of the flight suit. Our flight suit's going to look something like this. And what else do I have here? Let's see. Let's look at these for a second. One of our new pilots, one of the Galactic's pilots. And here's some more pictures of the spaceship. When the plane carries the spaceship up in the air, this is what it looks like as the carrier plane. And here it looks like two planes, but it's actually two bodies and one big wing, and they drop the spaceship off like that. I could send you some videos that kind of illustrate this if you'd like to see them sometime too.
Sure, we would love to. Also, are you going to be posting
Sure.
pictures? I'm assuming you'll post pictures on your Google Plus of seeing the new space shuttle or the new space
New
shuttle.
spaceship. I'll probably. Oh yes, I'm not using Google Plus a lot for sharing pictures, but I will have them on my Twitter, and then I think they'll be in the news for sure.
All right, well, we will look for you then.
That's good.
That'd be kind of
But that-
exciting to
Sure.
see.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and so Galactic, what they're going to do, it's going to be a while. It's an experimental plane, so they'll have some test flights with the spaceship carried in the air. They'll have some test flights where they drop the spaceship and the spaceship glides back to the Earth and lands on the runway. And then they'll have some test flights where they drop the spaceship and the rocket fires and the spaceship goes up into space. So all this next, all throughout the rest of this year, and probably when you guys are fifth graders, they'll be testing. And maybe when you're sixth graders, they'll have the first people up.
Awesome.
So
Is it remote control, or is there going to be a pilot on the rocket?
there's 2 pilots on the spaceship, 2 pilots and 6 passengers. So it's all pilot controlled. And then the carrier ship has 2 pilots on it and a flight engineer.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Yeah,
thank you. We so appreciate you meeting with us today.
Great. Thanks for your questions. And see you all.
And super fast. All right. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate
Thanks so much.
this.
Okay, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.